Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Evening CryptoCast with your boy the Real Shot 256. And tonight we're gonna bring to you a very bloody um, episode with all of the markets trending down, everything taking a nosedive from traditional markets to cryptocurrency markets. Everything is on the downside. Everything's taking a big, massive dump and we see blood in the streets. Everybody's going crazy. There's turmoil in international markets. We do see, China. This all started with the trade wars between Trump and China, and then China responding by devaluating their currency in response to that whole trade wars to circumvent some of those tariffs. And then we do see that, or at least we do hear from Trump saying that negotiations are actually taking a turn for the good, but nothing to really talk about as of yet. He's just really spreading rumors and kind of jumping the gun in my opinion because there is no negotiations plan to my understanding until September. But he did go out and tweet today that negotiations are looking better. Aside from that, we also saw Argentina again, devaluating the devaluation of their currency. We saw Sweden being hit. We saw New Zealand being hit, and we also saw the Australian dollar getting hit. All of these currencies around the world being devalued against the dollar. So everything being hit from top to bottom, inside out. And there's quite a bit of blood in the streets. People are freaking out. Some people are freaking out. One of the biggest losses in the Dow Jones seen in a very long time, losing about 800 points. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. And you know, currently crypto markets showing some correlation with traditional markets. Everything across the board is down today. Not excluding crypto markets. Is Bitcoin down because of the same reasons, or is it something that is just coincidental? You guys can leave it down in the comments and let me know what you guys think. Currently, we're sitting at 264 market cap, 264 billion. We've been trading 63 billion in the last 24 hours, and Bitcoin dominance sitting at 68.2. I do think that number should go up as we do see more losses. In my opinion, I think we might see a bit more of a drop here in Bitcoin in the next couple of days. Just and as of late, the correlation here might give us something to kind of take with us as far as like when the market is going to turn around. So I'm going to be looking at both. Also, another thing that I've been telling you guys for a couple of months now, there has been something going on with gold, and I told you guys 2 months ago, roughly 2 or 3 months ago. You can guys, I'll try to find the video, but I had been talking to you guys about how gold has just been acting a bit off topic, as in how gold traditionally behaves. And we did see an uptake in the gold price kind of out of nowhere and unexpectedly. And I had told you guys that I was going to keep my eye on that particular scene. And I also told you guys that my interpretation of that was that a lot of traditional market investors, a lot of savvy investors, kind of seeing the writing on the wall. Something that maybe for a retail investor would be difficult to notice, hard to really identify. These very savvy investors who have been in here for the long term and for a very long time in these traditional markets did see something coming and started to hedge with gold, right? And I told you guys that I was going to keep an eye on that in the next couple of months. It's been 2 months since I started talking to you guys about that, and we do see that that is actually coming to fruition. I'll show you that in the charts. This is going to be a longer episode, so if you feel free to fast forward through this stuff that you are not interested in, I promise I will not get offended. In fact, again, as long as you comment, you like the video, and you subscribe, I don't care if you fast forward through the stuff that you don't necessarily care about. And then we'll talk about this news, and then we'll get into the TA side of things, start looking at charts, Bitcoin, traditional markets, right after that. So let's get right into it. Um, The big news of the day again, Dow Jones down about 800 points on the day, totaling about 305. But everything is down, as I was mentioning. Everything is down. There's blood on the street. People are just grabbing their heads, just nodding and just trying to figure out what the heck is going on again. Trump and the trade wars, devaluation of international currencies, all of this stuff really pointing at a possible recession. And I say that because the yield curve, the treasury yield curve, actually inverted today as of this morning for the first time in about 10 years. The last time we saw that was in back here about 2007 or so. Well, this one says November 2006. So the thing with this is, the inverted yield curve has predicted the past 7 recessions, right? So a big thing to note here is, anytime we do see this, and some people have been calling for this and have been, looking at this with a careful eye and talking about this, how we're headed into this unavoidable inverse within the yield curve, and how this is telling of a recession, or how this would lead us into a recession. And we see it being played out. This would be the first symptom, or the first indicator that, hey, we're probably in a crash course towards a recession. And there's probably not much that we can do now. There is, at the same time, there's not much that we could do, but at the same time, we're sort of hedging. And I mean we as in a broad term, because the Federal Reserve has you know they've made a short a really just a bad effort, in my opinion, by cutting the rates by 25 basis points. I do think they should have cut I do agree with the president. They should have cut the rate by a bit more if we want to hedge against this, if we want to, you know, um, at least slow down the pace towards a recession. Whether that's enough, I doubt it. We would need more help from other sectors. The stock market isn't something that is going to get us in or out of a recession, but we would need help from different areas. So definitely something that has been on people's minds, on people's eyes, on everybody's watch, including mine. So with that, I do want to bring a chart and actually compare the Dow Jones with Bitcoin, right? And we do see this major drop here in the last couple of days, as long that it coincides with Bitcoin here. This is the daily chart. And some occasions we do see an inverted correlation or a negative correlation, and then sometimes we do see a positive correlation, like we do see here. There is a positive correlation here. Sometimes traditional markets calling it a bit earlier, just serving as an early indicator of what might happen with cryptocurrency markets, specifically to Bitcoin. Now remember this too: whenever Bitcoin dips, the whole market dips, right? Whenever Bitcoin, or at least not in 2019, when Bitcoin goes up, the crypto markets somewhat follow, right? They're not staying on par with Bitcoin. I've been talking to you guys about this as well. But whenever Bitcoin does drop, then we do see the entire cryptocurrency market drop as well with it. So we're currently trading at 10,095 with Bitcoin here, and we started up here, or yeah, the high up here was 12,075, and then let's actually put a move on this thing here, and translating to about a total move of 16% since the high of 12,000 here. We'll call it 12,100. And we do see somewhat of a correlation here. Now, is this drop from the last couple of days, is this something that is related with traditional markets? You guys be the judge. I believe that this is definitely a at least a short-term correlation in my eyes. There's definitely something going on that has also translated with the crypto markets, in my opinion. And we'll have to follow again on the footsteps of traditional markets to see what they do and how they react going forward, because that can also be an indicator as to what cryptocurrency markets are going to do. Now, let's go back and I'll show you the gold chart as I was telling you. That is actually the SPY. SPY also dropping quite a bit, about 3%. We'll measure it from the high to the current price right now, 6% in the last week or so. Actually, 19 days. So it's down about 6%, a little over 6% in the last 19 days. So not too bad, but for traditional markets, if you've never traded traditional markets, 6% drop is quite a bit. Folks do get a bit shaken up for about a 5 or 6% drop. If you're in crypto markets and have only traded crypto markets, then this is really nothing to you. This is like, this is chump change. And then we have gold here that's just been on a absolute tear since back in June, when I started telling you guys about this sort of move, this hedging move that's been going on with traditional investors going and hedging with gold, kind of seeing what's been going on and actually putting their money into something that is going to actually not only hedge but actually perform better than anything else in the market out there. If we go back to the Market Watch page here, we do see gold was actually the only market that stayed steady and did not have a huge loss. This number here pertains to futures markets, so we're not really talking about that. I think they ended up the day at something like point 0.10 on the up, on the positive side, green numbers. But everything else is down, right? Everything else is definitely down. Um, so going back to the chart here, I've been telling you guys about this move, and it's definitely been playing out for the last couple of months. Whether gold continues to be the hedge and the go-to play, if this continues, this is a pattern, this is a trend. This could continue, and we could see gold, reach. I'm looking at the Spider Gold Trust shares here on the SPY, and I do think that this can actually go and keep on the up and up. Again, we're in an uptrend. We're in an uptrend, and we actually haven't seen these type of numbers in gold since back in. Look at that, about 5 or 6 years ago, back in 2013. So this is very, very interesting what's going on in gold markets. I am going to continue to pay attention to that. Um, I do think, look at the separation. This is pretty similar to what we've seen in Bitcoin's price. I mean, that just shows you in the weekly chart. There's a lot of there's just a huge momentum to the upside in gold. Look at the separation between the 30 simple and the 21 EMA here. At some point, I would like to see a correction to come back and test the 30 and then maybe a bounce, or the 21 and bounce off of there. The 21 currently coming in at 130, the 30 simple coming in at 134. I would like to see a retest, and then maybe that would be a better entry point. Just depending on what happens again in the next couple of days with traditional markets. See where we close the week. Again, this might be something that you might want to get into or not. Not financial advice, but again, just paying attention to these things and trying to bring this out to your attention, and hopefully this will help you guys as well with your trading. Now, so let's go back now and focus on just Bitcoin here for a minute, as it's been, as it's been a very, very considerable move. Let's just actually measure this weekly candle here again. Put a measurement on it. Currently sitting at about 13% change to the negative from last week to the next. RSI is below the 21 exponential here. It has flattened out though, but it does look like it wants to flip over to the downside, and that would obviously mean that there would be plenty more room to go. I was hoping that we'd get a bounce here at the 30 simple right here around 10,445, but I mean, we just violated that level there at 10,445, and it does look like we might come back and retest at 21. That's why I'm saying I don't think that this run to the downside is done yet. But we might get front ran here, but ultimately it could come back and retest the 21 there. If we do break that, then boy oh boy, things start to look very dim for Bitcoin. We do have the 89 exponential here, and also the simple 200 coming in right underneath at 7,300. There still would be a lot of work to do. We do see sort of a trend here on the weekly that hopefully Bitcoin will respect here. Actually, what I wanted to show you guys. So hopefully this will be respected, right? I mean, there could be a bounce right here, right now. We're at about 10,100. There could be a bounce here, although, we've seen crazier things. We could definitely come back and retest the 21 there. All right, let's actually get rid of these again. All right, so yeah, on the daily, looking like it wants to retest the 21. So look out for that. We should see that in the next few weeks. Next few days, just depending again on what happens with traditional markets. Keep an eye on that, and that should also help us kind of figure things out. That is the higher time frames. Let's look at the lower time frames. The daily just had a closed about an hour and 30 minutes. 2 hours and 30 minutes ago. And we are painting a green candle so far. We're trading again at about 10,100. Does look like it wants to bounce from here, although the daily just looks like it, still has some more downside to go. As I was saying on the weekly chart, it does look like it might want to come back and retest the 21. So I'm not buying any dips at this point, not yet. On the daily, looks like the 89 is coming in at 9,700. We are holding the $10,000 mark, which is a huge psychological price point that I know a lot of people might want to buy that dip at 10,000. Some people have already. As you can see, we've started painting a green candle here for the new daily candle. And then we have the RSI again trying to get into the bear control zone, and then from there I do think we could again see another continuation or just overall continuation of this downward move. All right, so let's take a look at even lower time frames. Let's look at the 4 hour, see how that looks. So let's bring this down a little bit. 4 hours definitely in the bearish control zone, looking like it might want to actually have a cross to the upside and attempt to get into the more neutral zone, and then from there have a nice bounce. I don't anticipate this to be for Bitcoin to keep trading on a downward spiral here for eternity. I do think at some point it is going to turn that around, and actually I do want to make that I do want to paint that trend move here. I'm gonna have to get rid of a lot of these lines here so that we can see it better. We can always come back and redo these lines of support and resistance for you guys. This is an old one I painted earlier. All right, so gosh, too many lines. All right, so this is what really matters, right? This is more of the macro trend. So here's what we've been seeing Bitcoin do, right? And it makes sense. It makes sense. We do see Bitcoin testing this area of support here, where the bottom of the bull flag was coming in here, respecting it once, twice, and then we did get a bit bullish about this because it didn't actually come back and retest. It never came back to retest this prior low here. It actually got front ran, and we did see a nice run and got above this major resistance point here at the top of the bull flag, actually escaping it and trading up here above it for a few days, so making us think that we were out of this formation and had resolved to the upside. But then again, we've seen some pretty nasty things going on in all markets, and Bitcoin not being the exception here, actually following in those footsteps as well. So naturally, we do see here this trend line is being, as of right now, is being respected here at around $10,000. Um, we could come back a little further and actually touch it at around 9,700 and see a bounce from there. But it does look like it wants to bounce from here. If this turns, if we do see a bounce here, we do see Bitcoin, come back and retest this area of resistance here. Then we start to reevaluate from there. Let's take a look and see what's going on. See what traditional markets are doing. Are we still in sort of a correlative period? If not, then we just take a look at Bitcoin on its own and just see if see what might happen in the future. But I do think we should be having a bounce here. If we don't get a bounce here, then definitely things are going to start looking pretty bad for Bitcoin. We Let's bring some of these areas of previous support. Actually, that's not what I wanted to bring up. Right here. So that should be a next area of support. If we get an extension of this bull flag here, this could also be an area of support here at 7,900 or $8,000 range. That should be areas of support there. We are trading below every major moving average. So this is definitely worrying. Bitcoin had to do a lot of work to get underneath all of these, and it actually did it, right? It actually did it. So it went from being having a very bullish posture and looking like it's going to reach for higher highs, or at least retest this previous high at around 13,200, actually turning to the downside and getting on a more bearish side of things, looking like it definitely wants to reach for lower lows. At this point, again, we're holding at 10,000. Hopefully this will hold there. Let's look at the 3 hours, see what it's doing. RSI is definitely in the bearish control zone, and looking like it wants to flat out. Also looking like it may want to cross to the upside and get into the neutral zone here. If it does, then it'd be maybe we trade sideways here for a little bit and let Bitcoin kind of cool off, and then maybe hopefully have a bounce to the upside. But as of right now, it's too early to call this. I don't think we're done here. I certainly don't. I would like to wait a little bit longer, wait for confirmation that we are having a bounce, and then think about maybe going back in. I did leave out of a trade at about 11,100 once I saw this dip here. Down here, was it this dip or was it this dip? It was this dip right here. So right around this area is where I left, 1,108, somewhere around there, and then we did see a bigger drop from there. Again, I don't do stop losses in these markets because a lot of times we get fished out. So after seeing confirmation that this was going to have a bigger bigger dip, then I definitely exited. And I did take about about 3 to 4% drop, but I am happy to be out. Do not get stuck holding bags. Do not let your emotions get the best of you when you are trading. If a trade goes south, make sure you exit, cut your losses, and go for the next trade. But right now, that is proven to be the right call, right? To even though I took about a 5% loss, somewhere between 3 and 5% loss, it was the right call. All right, so don't get your emotions involved. Don't let them get the best of you there. All right, so that is the 3 hour. Let's look at the 2 hour real quick. Again, looking bearish. RSI looking like, it's being manipulated by the bears at this point. And then we see the 1 hour as well. Everything's looking very, very bearish. These things have correlation. Again, the 1 hour, the 2, the 3, the 4, the daily, everything is on a downtrend. So again, that's why I am supporting the theory that we might have some more room to go downwards into the high 10,000s. 10,700 seems to be like the area where we might see a turnaround in my eyes. We might get front ran here and actually turn to the upside, but really honestly, in my opinion, it does look like 9,700 is going to be right here, right around this area here where my cursor is, and that yellow line that's coming in. That seems to be where we might actually really have a more definite turnaround, based again on what has been happening with the more macro trend of things here. This line of support again coming in here. Hopefully that will save us, and then we can get back to our more positive thinking within Bitcoin. All right. I don't want to talk too much about um, the rest of the crypto markets because everything was getting pummeled, everything pretty much. And I did warn you guys in my last video. XRP was tinkering with this major area of support, and I told you guys that if it did break it, we'd see about 25 cents XRP. We actually did wick down all the way down to what is this down here? Wick down to, gosh, 23 cents. We have actually bounced from that area at 23 cents, and settling at around 26 cents and some change. So yeah, I mean, definitely XRP was looking like it wanted to reach down, and with Bitcoin and everything else in traditional markets having a bad day, certainly XRP was not going to be the exception. BNB was having a nice run up, and could not sustain those prices again because everything's being hit really hard. We are looking at the hourly. Link was being one of the stronger ones. Link definitely, holding its own in the last few days. We do see sort of a higher low behavior here, which indicates that Link is holding pretty strong here. Let's actually put a line on it, right? So not too surprising here. Again, Link has just been one of those very pleasant, surprising coins, and for 2019. So it's good to see that it's actually holding it. Not really. I wouldn't say that there's anything to hedge within the crypto markets, except for USDT or USDC or whatever stablecoin you want to use to get out and actually hedge. That's what I did. I actually went into Tether, and it has worked out for me. So definitely be careful out there. Make sure you use all the tools that are out there for you guys when trading. If you wanted to find a safe haven, a stable coin may not be a bad option. All right, so Litecoin, again, respecting this trend line here. We've been playing off of this for a while, on a sort of rising wedge here, and respecting this bottom area support, creating another higher low. We could potentially see a bounce here. We actually did start to see a bounce right around 76 cents. About 76, high 76 cents, or gosh, not 76 cents, $76. We started to see a bounce from that area. So respecting this here, again, just depending on what Bitcoin is going to do in the next couple of days, we should see definition here. Just be careful. To me, it's a no trade zone. If you're newer in this space, if you just started trading recently within the past couple of years, maybe the last year or so, maybe a few months, this is definitely a no trade zone for me right now. I do want to wait for confirmation either way. All right, so I'd keep my money in the sidelines. Look, you've already increased your bag size by actually hedging with hopefully a stable coin, whatever you choose to do. If you are hedging that way, then you're already winning, right? Okay, so look at Ethereum real quick. It did breach this very important area of support here, and it's now bouncing off of the 184 area, having a pretty good bounce. But again, No trade zone for me. The 4 hour is looking very dim. The RSI is in the bearish control zone, so I would not touch it. I wouldn't touch anything at this point, and just wait for confirmation. You don't have to be in a trade to feel like you're doing something. In fact, this game is very much a waiting game. So yeah, you're probably doing the best thing by keeping your money on the sidelines and not actually trading this right now. Again, until we see confirmation. If you want to short something like this, that may not be a bad idea because we're in sort of a downtrend now, in the more micro things, on the more micro trend side of things. However, I don't know how long that is going to actually stay in that trend. Nobody knows that, and all you can do is just take your best guess. But it does look like we're in a downtrend for the time being. All right, so let's close up here with Bitcoin. Again, I do want to see it hold at 9,700, 9,800 range. If we do get below that, there is a pretty good area of support here coming in at 9,300. But again, and things just started to look really, really dim for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets. Um, and then we'll take it a step by step. If we do get down to 97, 9,800, let's reassess there. If we do get down to this area here at the low 9,000, 93, 9,400, we'll have to reassess from there. But again, this is not going to be a perpetual down move, right? I don't think it is. Again, the ultimate bear case scenario, which we were talking about in the last video, which I told you guys, that's not what we're talking about right here, right now. Well, now we are considering that might actually play out, just depending on what happens here. Okay. All right, so that is all that I have for you guys tonight. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this content. If you are, definitely hit the like button, the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you get notifications whenever I do put out new videos. And let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Is there any correlation? Do you guys think that this is all a correlated move, or it's just a coincidence? Let me know down in the comments either way. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully, again, you're enjoying this, um, and we'll see you guys on the next video. And yeah, enjoy. Have a great night. We'll see you guys.